I talked to a client recently and I just loved her. She was a very successful woman from grade school, high school, college. She'd always had her life planned out and she'd always done that which she thought. Let me go to medical school. I'm going to be a doctor. She did it. Her career's been successful. She knew she'd marry. She did. It's a successful marriage, great kids, and now she's going to empty nest. And she was a little bit anxious about, what do I do next? So we talked a lot about trusting in God, maybe not knowing empty nesting is hard. Um, just let it happen as it happens. You'll find things. You'll be able to volunteer. But this didn't set so right with this woman who's really gifted at always having planned out her direction, or she just knew. And now at an age similar to mine and retirement looming and empty nesting, she didn't have a plan. When you go to high school, you know that you're going to go to college. When you go to college, you know you're going to do this. Or when you're military, you know that after grade school, you go to high school, then you go to boot camp, and then you're going to make this rank. And then, so many people like to have this plan to give them peace. Ultimately, those things that I talked about weren't fulfilling the peace prerequisite, that which she was seeking, like I had hoped. But we ended with this, and this did work. And I say this to people all the time, and I'm going to say it to you. When we are stressed or anxious about something in life, we need to change our perspective. How do you do that? In this woman's case, she was focused on the big picture, the future. After this, then what? I mean, all these things, all these possibilities. How do I know? Will I be valuable? Where do I turn? And I said, when macro, the big picture, macro, when macro stresses you out, think micro. Just think today. Just think tomorrow. And when micro stresses you out, think macro. I've said this before, but I think it deserves repeating, especially now we're looking at the beginning of a new year and people have plans on what they're going to do. And I remember when I was getting my PhD and I took my qualifying exams, I was so stressed out about, will I pass them? I had to write for 2 entire days. All I did was enter a computer room with a dictionary, and didn't even need to take it. Well, I could take a pencil, right? That's it, a dictionary and a Bible. And I got 2 questions thrown at me in the morning, had to write about them for 4 hours. And then I got 2 questions in the afternoon. All of them had to do with all the classes I had taken in the previous 2 or 3 years in my PhD program. Who remembers what they did last week, let alone 3 years ago? I was so sick to my stomach because after I took those 2 tests, the 2 questions in the morning, 2 questions at night, 8 a.m. till not 5 p.m. on Thursday, then I had to do that again on Friday. Then I'd have to wait 2 weeks, study, and defend orally. And I remember thinking, my PhD, my future is in the hands of 3 men, or 3 people, I should say. They could give me thumbs up or thumbs down, and I was sick to my stomach. I stressed for weeks and weeks. I mean, like close to vomiting, kind of, oh my gosh, I would cry. And I'm not a stressor. I really am not. People know me. I'm the free-spirited person. But this was huge. I had thousands of dollars invested, many years, and yes or no, you're in, you're out. And what I remembered was, I'm focusing on the micro. I'm focusing on that test. I'm focusing on, will I know the answers? And so I told my mind to do that which I just told you to do. Focus on macro. Let's say that I took those tests August 22nd and August 23rd of 23. I told myself, focus on August 24th. Focus on August 23rd at 5:01 p.m. Focus on November, December. Focus on what were the things I knew that would happen after that, regardless if I passed or failed. And I fixed my mind on that. I thought, either way, pass or fail, that day will still come. November will still come. I'll still have December. I'll still have Christmas. I'll still, assuming God willing, I'm alive and breathing. But it took a lot of stress off me because I no longer fixed my gaze on this micro situation in the scheme of the world, this small situation, a situation that I knew 5 years later wouldn't be a big deal to me. And yet you likely do the same things because we're all human. There might be things that you're thinking about tomorrow, or the divorce trial you have to go to, or that illness you have to go through. You found out you have cancer and you have to go through chemotherapy, or whatever it is. My child is sick, or my spouse hasn't come home, or what if they don't come home? Stop focusing on the macro. Stop focusing on the big picture. Focus on the micro. What are you going to do tomorrow? You're going to wake up, eat your breakfast, do your exercise, say your prayers, do whatever it is that you do. Go to your job. And when you do that, it causes your mind to come off of that which stresses you out. Or if you're so sick to your stomach about that race or that test tomorrow, focus on the bigger picture. The more spiritual way of looking at this is really in God's word, because he tells us, not as ineloquently as I'm going to say, don't look at your mess. Same thing Peter did. He looked at the water. He's like, oh my gosh, I'm walking on water. And he starts sinking because he looked at the problem instead of looking at the big picture. And what Jesus said instead is, whenever you get stressed out, macro or micro, keep your eyes on what is good, what is pure, what is holy, what is truthful, what is lovely. Kind of mess that up. But those are the things he says to look on. Fix your gaze on these things. No matter what you're going through, cancer, death, divorce, illness, bankruptcy, if you look at those things, you're going to grieve, get anxious, get stressed out, get sad, get in despair. But when you focus on God, because he is good, whatever is good, whatever is pure, whatever is holy, whatever is lovely, all those things are Jesus. So when I get to this, I'll close my eyes and I will picture this neon cross in front of me, and I'll stop seeing the things around it and I'll just see the cross. My heart rate goes down and my thoughts get focused. And I'm at peace. Now, sometimes we have to do that 2 or 3 times a day or frequently, but it's a training. You are not an animal. You are a beautiful, wonderful, intelligent man or woman. And God gave you an intellect, even if you think you're dumb. You're not. God gave you what you need to go, I fixed my mind on you. I'm not going to stress out about this micro thing that's going to happen today or tomorrow. I'm going to focus on the macro, which is you, God. And when you're thinking too much like this client of mine who is focused on what am I going to do after I retire from medicine, say, close your eyes and fix yourself on the micro, which is really Jesus has got this day. I hope this helps. I have found that it helps for most people that hear it. Which one are you stressing on today? Fix your mind on the other. I'm Dr. Christine Bacon. Thanks for watching Breakfast with Bacon. And as always, live your life. Don't forget to live your life sunny side up.